In the latter parts of my living in Japan, I took on a project of writing fan letters to video game companies. Needless to say, it was Japanese video game companies. I sent out 8 of them to Square-Enix, Capcom, Nintendo, Chunsoft, Irem, Konami, Bandai Namco, Sega, and also Treasure. And the Treasure was the last one I wrote, I remember. I just, well, except for praising them for making well-received games that I never played, although I didn't write that in. I asked them if Ikaruga the game was in any way based on Ikaruga the place in Japan, which is has a temple and stuff, which I went to because might as well see it as a place to pray for success in video games, right? Anyway, I got 3 replies. And I got them from. I wish I got more, but on the other hand, I'm very grateful to have gotten any replies at all. I got them from Nintendo, Capcom, and Square-Enix, and they're pretty much all form replies. They're not personalized in any way, really. But what you can't really expect much more when you write to companies, I don't think, because, if they were going to write personally to every fan that writes them, it's not possible. First of all, because it's Japanese, all the letters look like this. This is in Japanese envelope. They always have this. They don't. Ours are bigger because we fold our letters. The paper actually just one time. They fold it twice. Anyway, the Nintendo one was actually written by hand by someone on the front there, which I think is pretty cool. The Capcom one had this sticker thing, and the Square Enix one I think also was actually written by someone on this thing. As I said, the replies are pretty form, and they're full of keigo, which is the Japanese most polite form of writing or speaking or whatever, communicating. So it has some kanji I need to look up, some phrases I didn't really understand, but I did understand enough that I could just, okay, so this is just pleasantries, this is not anything actually talking, it's just the stuff they have to put in there. Square, pretty much what they said was pretty much just, thank you for enjoying our products, and we happy that you liked enjoyed our Final Fantasy series for such a long time. Which, of course, when I wrote to Square Enix, I wrote mostly about how I love the Final Fantasy series, up to number 10 anyway. Capcom did the most detailed response. They actually they made an effort to reply to individual questions that I had. So it starts with the same type of standard thing, like thank you for writing a letter to us. But anyway, I asked them if I could apply for jobs at Capcom as a foreigner, if it's possible at all. Which is kind of a stupid question, honestly. But they just pointed to the recruit site. Very no nonsense reply. I asked about a name I saw in the credits to or staff role, as it's called in Japan, to Mega Man 6, which was a Swedish name, which has always intrigued me ever since I played Mega Man 6 the first time. It's like a Swedish person worked on Mega Man 6, like doing what? And was he really Swedish, or was it I would assume, but yeah, so that was interesting. But they couldn't answer that because of confidentiality, and they answered my question about will there be any more Mega Man Legends games or Rockman Dash, and they just said that currently there are no plans. A very typical response. Even if they have plans, they will still say that there are no plans, because that's I completely understand, because they can't tell a random person, yeah, sure, we're planning, or we're doing it, or you can't do that, because then it's all over the news and it fucks up their whole schedules. I know you can't do that as a company, but personally though, I don't believe that there is anything in development anyway, because even though Mega Man did come back, thank you Capcom, with Mega Man 11, I do think that Legends is pretty much dead. That was such a Keiji Inafune baby that I don't think they're gonna mess with it at all, unfortunately. And then ends with thank you for receiving compliments and correspondence with our fans is really makes our staff really happy, and thank you for sending this pleasantry at the end. So A for effort on Capcom's part, I would say. With the Nintendo letter is pretty much more like Square. It's very short. It's thank you for writing the letter, and they try to answer one question, which was about jobs, and they just go to the job site, which I already knew existed. So I guess I shouldn't have asked. I was pretty dumb. I don't know what I was expecting them to say, really. I guess I was in some far reach of my nerd brain, hoping them to say, yeah, sure, you come work for us. We'll give you a desk next to Miyamoto. The cool thing about the Nintendo letter is that I talked about getting a NES when I was 7 or 6. I always confuse those. Anyway, getting a Nintendo Entertainment System when I was a kid, playing all the Nintendo systems after that, and I made a point of mentioning the Virtual Boy, of course, and saying that I actually like it, even though everyone hates it. And in their reply, it was cool that they said, 海外で発売された Nintendo Entertainment System からバーチャルボーイなど少年大切に Nintendo のゲーム機で遊んでくださっていることが伝わり嬉しく存じます。Nintendo doesn't write Virtual Boy unless it's, they acknowledged its existence, which a person must have read my letter and wrote that on purpose, so to speak, because otherwise they would have wrote NES to Switch or NES to Wii U or something, but they wrote Virtual Boy. Which means that they acknowledged that I wrote about the Virtual Boy, which I think is just cool. So, yeah, not too much more to say than that. I wish I got more replies, as I said, but I didn't. It's still great to get any. Although I did write a few of those letters, I didn't write them all at the same time. I wrote like 3 in September, I think, and I moved away from Japan in late September. So maybe a few of them were a little on the late side, but on the other hand, these replies I got within a few days, 4 days or something. So yeah, it's cool. Now maybe I can write some letters to other companies in English. That should be a lot easier.